Hello and welcome into this RNN news break right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below and hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On this RNN news break, we've got a couple of announcements to look at, and then we'll just get an overall 2018 silly season update for you, as there have been a few things we haven't been able to quite get to, so we'll wrap it all up into one video here and get everything caught up. So first off, the big announcements over the past couple days, of course, Natalie Decker, you probably already heard, has announced that she has signed with DGR Crosley for the 2019 season and will be running trucks, ARCA, and Can-Am East races for them. So a big schedule on tap for Natalie Decker in 2019. I don't believe she will be running a full season in any of those, just kind of cherry-picking races, I believe. It hasn't actually been announced yet what races she's running other than the truck race at Daytona. So, not exactly sure what the schedule lines out to be, but my understanding is it's a partial schedule in all three series. So, we'll see how that exactly plays out. But that is actually, as far as we can tell, the first announcement for a K&N team for who will be where in the K&N East series next year, as well as one of the first announcements for the truck series here. The only other announcement really that we've had for the truck series in silly season is that Sheldon Creed will be running for GMS Racing in 2019. I'm not sure on a truck number for that yet. I'm leaning towards thinking he's going to be in the 2 truck, but not sure exactly where he will fall in the GMS stable for that. But then we've got the Xfinity Series, and a big announcement coming a couple of days ago from the third place finisher in the truck points this year, Justin Haley. He will be taking over the 11 car from Kaulig Racing, replacing Ryan Truex in that ride in a multi-year contract. So at least a couple of years on that contract for Justin Haley with Kaulig Racing. Now that made us wonder, there's been a few other announcements that we haven't quite gotten to for the Xfinity Series on here, so let's go ahead and just look at exactly how the Xfinity Series is shaping up for 2019 so far. Cole Custer set to return for another full season in that 00 car. No announcements yet on who will be in any of these JD Motorsports cars, the 0, the 01, the 4, or the 15. Of course, Ross Chastain moving on to Chip Ganassi Racing in the 42 car, so that leaves the 4 car vacant. And then no announcements as to if anyone is coming back in the 0 or the 01. Vinnie Miller will be moving on to BJ McLeod Motorsports, so he is definitely out of that 01. Not sure yet if Garrett Smithley is coming back in the 0. Junior Motorsports, on the other hand, the 1 car, we know Noah Gragson moving to that car in 2019 to replace the retiring Elliott Sadler. Dave Ellens will be the crew chief on that car as Kevin Meandering moves to the Cup Series with Jimmie Johnson. The 2 car with Matt Tifft, not really sure what's happening there yet, as it was just announced a couple days ago. He will be moving to the Cup Series in a new 3rd team for Front Row Motorsports. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So chances are he will not be back in that 2 car in 2019, but again, not sure. And if he's not really sure who's going to be in that 2 car, or if the 2 car will even exist if RCR just kind of scales back their Xfinity operations. The 3 car, again, no formal announcement yet, but that's expected again to just kind of be an all-star car as it has been for RCR in the past couple of years. Michael Annett returns to the 5 car in 2019, still with Pilot Flying J sponsorship. He signed a multi-year deal with Junior Motorsports. That was announced back in the middle of 2018. Justin Allgaier, no announcement yet, but he is expected to be back, and Brandt likely coming back to sponsor him, which is why we expect him to still be there in that 7 car. SS Greenlight Racing opening up a 2nd car. I don't know if it's a 2nd car or if they're changing numbers from the car they currently have, because currently in 2018 they ran the 76 car for Spencer Boyd. now they have the '08 car for Greg Gaulding. So I'm not sure if this is just a renumbering and Greg Gaulding is replacing Spencer Boyd, or if this will be a new second car for SS Greenlight Racing. There's been no announcement yet on exactly what is happening with Spencer Boyd, so not really sure exactly what SS Greenlight Racing is doing here. The 9 car for Junior Motorsports still kind of up in the air here. No announcement yet as to who will be driving that. All we know is that Tyler Reddick is out and he is moving to Richard Childress Racing. And then, of course, as we just mentioned, Justin Haley now in that 11 car for Kaulig Racing. That should be a good fit. I expect some good things out of Justin Haley in that 11 car in 2019. Ryan Reed, not really sure what is happening here with this 16 car. A lot of questions surrounding the entire Roush Fenway Xfinity program in 2019, because if you remember, there really wasn't hardly any sponsorship on the 60 car this past season. Most of the season it just had Ford paint on it. Ryan Reed, of course, has lost the Lilly Diabetes sponsorship, so he is probably completely out of a ride with Roush Fenway and looking for something else. But that raises the question, will Roush Fenway even have an Xfinity program in 2019? Because it doesn't seem like they really have any sponsorship. I believe the only sponsorship that was on that 60 car at all in 2018 was Nutrichomps with Chase Briscoe, and of course they've moved with him over to the 98 car with Stuart Haas. So I don't know if Roush Fenway is even going to have an Xfinity program in 2019. It's still to be seen. The 18 car with Joe Gibbs Racing, again, an all-star car for them, just kind of different names in almost every race. The only confirmed name in that car so far is Jeffrey Earnhardt, who will be running 9 races with sponsorship from Extreme Concepts. No plans yet for that 19 car. Not sure if Brandon Jones is back in that car in 2019 or exactly what is happening there. Christopher Bell expected to be back for a second season in the 20 car. Tyler Reddick expected to move into that 21 car. No car number announced yet as to where Tyler Reddick will be at Richard Childress Racing, but this is the expected seat for Tyler Reddick is in that 21 car as Daniel Hemrick moves to the Cup Series. Austin Cindric running a full season in that 22 car for Team Penske. Now here's one of the big rumors right now that hasn't quite been announced yet is that John Hunter Nemechek is expected to be announced soon as the driver of the 23 car for GMS Racing. So hasn't quite been announced yet, but that's the rumor that's floating around, is that John Hunter Nemechek will take over that 23 car full-time for GMS in the Xfinity Series. No plans announced just yet for the 35 or the 36 car. RSS Racing still kind of up in the air. No plans from them yet, other than it's expected that Ryan Sieg, of course, will be back in that 39 car. But as for the other 3 cars, not sure what is happening there. No announcements from Motorsports Business Management yet for the 40 or the 66. Of course, Ross Chastain will be back in that will be full-time now in the 42 car for Chip Ganassi Racing. A lot of these cars down through here, no announcements made just yet. Again, as we talked, I'm not really sure what's going to happen with this 60 car. Austin Cindric, of course, will not be back in it since he is running that full schedule in the 22 car. Chase Briscoe won't be back in it as he'll be running the full schedule in the 98 car. So that only leaves Ty Majeski, and there really wasn't any sponsorship on that car this season outside of Chase Briscoe. So I don't know. It remains to be seen what happens here. Will Ty Majeski be back with Roush Fenway? Will he have another ride? Will Roush Fenway not have an Xfinity program? A lot of questions surrounding that team, and we're not really sure exactly what is happening there in 2019 just yet. And then, of course, as we've talked about a little bit here, Chase Briscoe down here in the 98 car for Stuart Haas Racing with Biaggi Dinbesti will be running a full season in 2019 in that 98 car. Nutrichomps coming on to sponsor the first 13 races of the year. No announcement yet as to who will be picking up the other races in the season. Alright, so while we're on a silly season update, let's look at the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, as there are a few changes there in the Cup Series that need looking at. The first one coming in the form of the 1 car. Jamie Mcmurray has announced he will not be back full-time in the one car for Chip Ganassi Racing in 2019. He's talked about running the Daytona 500, then retiring. So not really sure exactly what's happening there. He says he's not actively looking for another ride. So that leads me to believe the Daytona 500, then retire plan is probably what he is looking at the strongest. The strongest candidate in the rumor mill for that car is Kurt Busch. No announcements have been made yet as to who will be in that one car, but Kurt Busch is the leading candidate right now. Ryan Newman moving to the 6 car for Roush Fenway Racing in 2019, moving over there from Richard Childress Racing in what looks to be a 2-year deal is what I'm seeing, or maybe a 3-year deal. It says multi-year, reportedly for 3 years, so at least through 2021 if the reports are correct for Ryan Newman at Roush Fenway Racing in that 6 car. The next real change on here comes in the form of course, Martin Truex Jr. This was highly publicized back about a month or so ago that he will be taking over that 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, replacing Daniel Suarez. Of course, crew chief Cole Pearn coming with him. It's also been talked about the Bass Pro Shops probably coming with him for sponsorship there. The 23 car, BK Racing has folded up shop. They are now in the fold at Front Row Motorsports, so we'll talk about them in a moment. Daniel Hemrick moving to the Cup Series in the 31 car for Richard Childress Racing. He will be running for Rookie of the Year honors in that 31 car. Not sure yet who's going to be in the 32 car for Go Fast Racing, as Matt DiBenedetto has vacated that ride to head over to Levine Family Racing, so not sure yet who will be in that 32 car for 2019. The 23 car, BK Racing, has now become the 36 car at Front Row Motorsports. Front Row now a 3-car team with Matt Tifft joining the fold in that 36 car. So now Michael McDowell, Matt Tifft, and David Reagan all in the fold at Front Row Motorsports. With Kurt Busch reportedly leaving Stewart-Haas Racing. Again, no announcements either way on that just yet, but that is the report that he is leaving. But basically they have all but confirmed it. The leading candidate out there right now in the rumor mill for that 41 car is Daniel Suarez. Now that he is out at Joe Gibbs Racing, again, no formal announcement yet, but that is the leading rumor that Daniel Suarez will be in the 41 car. The third of the 3 Rookie of the Year contenders thus far will be Ryan Preece in the 47 car. He replaces AJ Allmendinger at JTG Doherty Racing in that 47 car. And the only other real change here in terms of driver changes for 2019, of course, we talked about Matt DiBenedetto moving over to Levine Family Racing in the 95 car in a 2-year deal. And I know there's a lot of people out there looking at that going, okay, that's not a huge step up from Go Fast Racing, as Levine Family Racing really wasn't they weren't a race-winning team, but they are switching to Toyota in 2019 with a technical alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing. So while I don't think they're going to be as strong as Furniture Row Racing was, they're basically going to be in the same position. So this gives Matt DiBenedetto a really good chance to show exactly what he can do in good equipment. So for everybody saying that Levine Family Racing isn't too much of a step up, I think it's more of a step up than what you are thinking it is. But that's your 2018 silly season update here for the beginning of December. I figured probably be a good idea to just look through everything since we've missed a couple of things with just not having real time to get a lot of videos out here. So I figured we'd just cover everything in one video since we had a couple announcements that came recently with Natalie Decker and Justin Haley, so I figured we'd just catch up on everything here in one video and try to keep more on top of things going forward as long as we can. So that will do it, though, for this RNN News Break. If you haven't done it already, go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN, and hit that big thumbs up button while you're down there. It's much appreciated when you do. So with that, this has been an RNN News Break. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.